Most photographers that believe that growth comes from learning more. In reality, it comes from filtering better, filtering noise, filtering opinions, filtering influence. Your business is already being shaped by the voices that you listen to. Some are moving you forward. Some are simply comfortable. Today, we're deciding which is which. Hey there, Lens Legends. Welcome to another episode of the Portrait Profits Show, where we focus on the business side of photography. I'm your host, Jim Landers, your guide on the business side, and it's my mission to uplift portrait photographers to make a great income doing what they love. Each week on the Portrait Profit Show, you get tips and systems on the business side of photography, designed to help you gain a mastery over marketing and sales, reducing the struggles that most photographers face so you can get exactly what you deserve. You're in the right place. Welcome to the Portrait Profit Show. The Portrait Profit Show is brought to you by Digital Pro Lab and Landers Photography School. Now, for Digital Pro Lab, uh, Amanda and her amazing, wonderful team are going to make you look like a hero. And that's just by default because Amanda hires fantastic people. She hires career people who love what they do. They love you, and it shows. I encourage you to go to digitalprolab.com. And if you haven't worked with them already, oh my goodness, you are going to be impressed. You're going to be surprised. You're going to enjoy working with them. Go to digitalprolab.com and see the difference that Digital Pro Lab can make for you. The show is also sponsored by Landers Photography School. That's me. I teach both the photography side and the business side. I do both group and private classes, more private classes lately and more on the business side lately. But I've written over 250 different photography classes. Chances are I've got something that you need. Reach out to me. In fact, I recommend that you not only go to my website, landersphotoschool.com, but I also recommend just putting yourself on my calendar. Let's talk. You can see that on the screen right now. Go to Calendly, not calendar, calendly.com/photoschool /15MIN. Again, that takes you directly to my calendar. You put yourself on it and we talk via Zoom, kind of like we're doing here, except here I'm just talking to you. And on a Zoom call, we get to talk together about you and your goals so we can help make those happen, assuming that's what you want to do. Now, I encourage you to like the show. I encourage you to make comments as we go through the show today, um, and ask questions even. Now, while you're over there at the comments section, I want you to take a moment right now to enter in hashtag live, hashtag live. That tells me you're watching today on either Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube. And for those watching the replay, I want you to enter in hashtag replay, hashtag replay. By the way, I can see several of you have already entered in hashtag live. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Helps me know where people are watching and when people are watching. Now, do one more thing for me. We don't do anything to promote the show. We don't spend any money on advertising because the show's free. There's no income coming in for it. And so we rely on you to share the Portrait Profits Show. So I encourage you to click on the share button or tag someone who you feel might be benefited by learning more about the business side of photography. Now, there comes a point in every photographer's journey when they realize their talent and expertise aren't the limiting factor. It isn't lighting, it isn't gear, it isn't even marketing. It's influence. Now, you may be thinking influencers. No, I mean something else. Every decision you make, pricing, branding, marketing, purchasing, hiring, investing, even whether you continue to be in business, is shaped by the voices you allow into your thinking. Now, some of those voices encourage you, some challenge you, some protect you, and some, often unintentionally, slow you down. The difference between photographers who struggle for years and those who steadily grow isn't just skill, it's who they listen to, it's who they allow to influence them. This is where your own board of advisors comes in. Chapter 1. This is not a formal board. It's not a group that meets in a conference room, not a panel gathered around a table, but a deliberate and thoughtful selection of people you turn to for specific types of guidance in every aspect of your life and business. Yes, this is a show on the business side, but this is also about having an ideal life. Think, think about this. Large companies do not make important decisions without experienced advisors. Professional athletes do not compete without coaches. Yet, there's a lot of photographers who think, I don't need that. I don't know if they think they're better than the equivalent of a professional athlete. I don't think that. But why would a professional athlete or someone who's been in business for a while, who's been successful, why would they need help? Why would they need a coach? Why would they need advisors? Aren't they at the top of their game? Uh-huh. So what makes you think you don't need this? You do. Now, I've got an interesting side note. If you've ever read the Birth Order book, Why You Are the Way You Are by Dr. Kevin Lehman, you know that independence is often celebrated. That I can do it myself mindset can serve you well. By the way, those of you watching from Arizona, Dr. Lehman and his wife Sandy live in Tucson, Arizona. But in business, trying to do everything alone often limits how far and how fast you grow. So that mindset of I can do it myself is not one I recommend. Even if you're a one-person business, which most portrait photographers are, even if you're just getting started, even if you work from a spare bedroom or a local coffee shop, you're human. You have people around you who make an impression on you, people whose words and actions affect you. Some you know personally, some you may never meet, but you respect what they say and how they say it. So while this message is specifically for portrait photographers, it applies to anyone who's aware of their environment and wants to grow within it. Because you make strategic decisions, you face pressure, you face and experience doubt. You need perspective. The question is not whether you need a board of advisors, because you already have one. The question is whether you've chosen them intentionally so they help you build and accelerate the business and life that you want. By the way, go to the comments section if you haven't already and enter in hashtag live so that I know that you're watching me right now live on either Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or LinkedIn. We're on several different places. So, and also, just in case you don't know, there is a handout for every single one of these shows. And so if you want the handout, just send me an email, jim@portraitprofits.com, and tell me which show it is that you want, because this is number 259. So I'll assume that this is the one you're talking about if it's close to the today, but I won't know for sure unless you tell me. So make sure you tell me the show that you're asking the handout for. You can ask for any handout back all the way to number one. So, and that would be 5 years ago. So uh, that's um, you know, coming back to chapter two. Your board of advisors is a collection of roles. Each role serves a different purpose. I'm going to share some base categories with you. Now, as I'm sharing them with you, these are general. You're going to have very specific things for yourself. So listen to the general, but then apply it to you as you're taking notes. I'm going to share these base categories with you, and later I will share more specific examples, including a list that you can use to help identify a person for each role. So, some advisors help you think strategically. These are people who see further down the road than you currently do, or see it more clearly because of their perspective. They may be mentors, coaches, peers who are you want to be or have experienced what you want to experience, or other business owners who have already navigated the terrain you're currently walking on. You turn to them when you're making decisions that shape direction, such as pricing, positioning, investment, hiring, and lots more. They expand your thinking. Other advisors help you operate well. They're technical, they're practical. It could be someone at your trusted lab, such as Digital Pro Lab. It could be another vendor who consistently delivers excellence. It could be a CPA, it could be an attorney, a systems expert, it could be all of the above. In fact, it likely is or will be. These people protect your time and your money. They reduce avoidable mistakes. You rely on them for expertise. They are your peers who stand in the arena with you. Other photographers, other small business owners at a similar stage. They provide shared perspective and accountability. They remind you of that steady growth is built through consistent effort. They are truth tellers, people who care enough to be direct. By the way, I appreciate a person who is direct and not going to beat around the bush, not going to sugarcoat it or give hints. I appreciate someone who's direct with me, especially when it's difficult to share. I want them to offer that kind of tough love. And I'm aware that only a strong mind can handle that. But it's a choice. You choose to have a strong mind and listen to that directness rather than having everything sugar coated. I don't like the way he said it. So what? It's not the messenger. It's not how it's said. It's how does it affect me? How can I get better because of it? They help you see where you're hesitating and what you're capable of. Their clarity strengthens you. There's also emotional anchors, the people who help you stay grounded. They remind you of who you are beyond your work. They help you reset and continue with strength. Each role matters. Each role serves a purpose. When you recognize them clearly, you build momentum with intention. And not every role needs to be filled by a different person. It could be, but it's quite possible, maybe even likely, that some individuals will serve multiple roles and do it well. But each role should be filled intentionally. Now, let's talk about something that happens to almost every photographer. Friends and family are often the first people we turn to when we need help, when we need to vent, or when things are getting tough. And sometimes they're the people we avoid at those points in times. We don't want them to know that things are tough. Both scenarios make sense. Bottom line is, we often do turn to family and friends, and you should talk to people who care about you. It's also important to recognize that they do not know this business, nor do they know the depth of your passion or the drive that keeps you on this path. You're going further into this subject of photography than most people around you ever will, much further than they even realize is possible. It's simply not their thing. I mean, they have their own thing, and you don't completely understand that. It just means that they're not likely to make a strong strategic advisor. If you haven't yet, at some point you will encounter detractors. Some minor, some whose words feel devastating. Some will question whether photography is a sustainable career. Some will say you're making it too complicated and suggest there must be an easier way. If success were simple and quick, wouldn't most photographers who tried succeed? More often, the difference is they didn't take the business side seriously enough. Yet many will blame it on anything other than themselves. Success takes discipline, it takes dedication, it takes surrounding yourself with people who have already experienced where you want to go. And here's where it becomes personal. Family, friends, and others may express doubt. And over time, if you're not intentional, their doubt can influence you enough to become your doubt. It accumulates quietly. You begin to question your work, your prices, your ability, your direction. This is why your board of advisors matters, your own personal board of advisors. Your support system is made up of people and resources that help align or realign you with the path that leads to your goals. There are more resources available to you right now than any other point in human history. Mentors, educators, vendors, communities, experts, people you may never have met in person, but whose guidance shapes your thinking. Consider the moment we're in right now. Technology is moving quickly. Artificial intelligence, AI, tools can now generate images that are really good, really good. They can write marketing copy for you. Yeah, you're going to tweak it a bit, but they can write marketing copy for you. They can simulate product photography. Have you heard of the new Google product? It's going to put it's going to make it very easy for product photography uh, consumers, those businesses who hire product photographers. It's going to make it very easy for them to do it themselves. It's going to harm the product photography business. I'll talk more about that next week. And AI produces polished visuals without traditional methods. Small businesses are already doing this. They're already using these tools every day. This is not something to fear, though, not as a portrait photographer yet. It's something to understand. When change happens at this pace, influence becomes even more important. Things that are influencing you, those people who are influencing you, those things that are influencing you, you need clarity. You need perspective. You need thoughtful interpretation rather than emotional reaction. And woo, we photographers, we sometimes lean on emotion. It's not bad for the photography side. It's not very good for the business side. You need people who can help you evaluate what to adopt, what to ignore, and how to position yourself wisely. I mean, tools evolve, platforms shift, trends rise and fall, but the quality of your thinking and the quality of the voices shaping your thinking determine how you respond. The shift towards AI is not a passing trend. Every once in a while, I hear someone saying that. I also remember them saying that 30 years ago about the internet. It's not a passing trend. It deserves thoughtful discussion. In fact, in next week's episode, it's called "Why Photographers Still Matter in the Era of AI." You are going to want to watch this one because we're going to address it directly. I'm not going to spend any more time with it right now because I have already written the one for next week and you're going to like it. You're going to love it. It's going to elevate you. It's going to make you happy. It's going to give you some things to say to people who are saying, is photography still going to matter? You're going to know how to respond. You're going to be energized. For now, though, recognize that rapid change makes intentional influence even more important. Intentional selection of your board of advisors is critical, in my opinion. And once you have done this, you'll see it as critical yourself. Supporters give genuine feedback that is in your best interest. Their guidance strengthens your long term goals, even when it challenges you in the short term. Some of these people you already know, some you haven't met yet, but they're out there. Choosing your advisors deliberately is what accelerates both your business and your life. So let's talk about the steps to choosing your advisors intentionally. There's 4 steps. By the way, if this is interesting, if this is helping, if this is resonating with you, there's a comment section. Let me know. Tell me. You could just use the word yes to tell me that you're hearing this, that you get it, that you're gaining something from it. You're going to gain even more here in just a moment when I go through the 4 steps. And by the way, just a reminder, I have a handout for every single one of these episodes every week. There's a handout for it, and some of them have templates and worksheets and other things. This one has a worksheet, and I'll show you real quick, but I'll come back to this in a little bit. It's a 6-page worksheet, and I'll come back to that here in just a moment. But that is included in the handout for this episode. Let's talk about these 4 steps to choosing your advisors intentionally. Understanding the importance of influencing or influence is one thing. Choosing it deliberately is another. Before you choose your advisors, you must have clarity about where you're headed. I mean, if you've worked through my lessons, if you've watched this show, if you've taken any of my classes, you know about how I feel about defining your ideal life, your ideal client, your financial goals. When you have these things in mind already, you already know the direction that you're heading in. Just like if you were gonna go on a road trip, you're gonna go visit a friend, in some other town, some other city. Well, you've defined where you're going. You've defined why you're going. You've defined when you're going. Therefore, you've given yourself potential for success to get there. Too many photographers haven't done that yet. They're just going with the flow. "Ooh, that idea sounds good. I'm gonna go over there." Well, that would be like getting on the road and choosing the road based on what looked good, or the car that you saw when you got there, or the car that exited. "Ooh, that's a pretty car. I'm gonna exit with it." People don't do that, except photographers. We do that. We see what other photographers are doing, and we're like, "Ooh, cool. I can do that. I could probably do it better. I could probably do it for less money." Guys, define where you're going so that you give yourself potential to get there. Your board of advisors should support that direction, not redefine it. So here's how you begin. The first step. Did I scroll too far? I did. There we go. I don't want you to begin by adding anyone new. I want you to begin by noticing who's already shaping your thinking. What do you talk about when you feel discouraged? And who do you talk to? Whose content do you consume regularly? Are you watching the Portrait Prophet show regularly? I bet there's some others that you're paying attention to. Whose content do you consume regularly? Who do you go to when you have a pricing question? Whose opinion carries weight in your decisions? Write their names down. Now, I showed you this graphic briefly. I'm going to show it to you one more time. This is a handout where the things that I'm about to talk about, or I've started talking about, this is in a worksheet form. So you can just write down in the spaces provided who fits those roles. So that's included in the handout. You just have to ask for it. Now, as far as that's concerned, let me put that up one more time at the handout information. Um, you're sending an email to jim@portraitprofits.com. But I respond with the handout and any worksheets or templates or anything that go along with it. And I also send an invoice for $10, and you can pay it if you want to. You don't have to. I really just want you to have the information. If you do it, it's supporting the show and keeping it going. That's the only source of income that this show has, is that $10. But if you don't want to pay for it, that's fine. If you forget, that's fine too. I don't keep up with it. I'm not going to send you a second invoice. I send you that first one. Take care of it if you want to. Don't if you don't want to. Doesn't matter to me. I won't even know that you didn't. I seriously don't keep up with it. So send me an email, jim@portraitprofits.com. Tell me you want it. So write their names down. If you want a structured way to do this, then you use this worksheet that you can see here on the screen. Yes, it's too small to get any information from. I can make it a slight bit bigger. There we go. That's not helping much, but still, it's bigger. Okay. And so this worksheet walks you through the entire process from identifying influences to organizing them into roles and spotting the gaps that you have, because everybody's got gaps. That's, I mean, until you've done this intentionally, there's going to be gaps. You may list mentors, peers, vendors, friends, family members. You may also list tools such as going to Google for a search, going to YouTube to watch videos, podcasts, AI platforms like ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Perplexity, or religion. There's a lot of things that influence your choices. So don't be limited by the list of questions that I've included or the suggested roles that I am going to share with you here in just a moment. Everybody's different. And you likely have lots of other people, lots of other influences that are shaping your thinking. I want you to write them down. You're going to take inventory of the influences that affect your decision making. Note that we're talking about influence right now. Influence and advisors, not the same thing. Tools provide information. Advisors provide judgment. Tools respond to prompts. Advisors challenge assumptions. Tools generate options. Advisors help you choose wisely. Make that distinction clear as you make your list. Now, you don't need my handout in order to make this list. You can just take notes as we're talking right now. and be able to do pretty much everything. Now, if I'm talking too fast, okay, maybe not. But if you're good about taking notes, or the show's recorded, you can watch it again. It's it, After 30 days, it deletes from Facebook. Uh, on Instagram, it deletes immediately, so there's no way to rewatch it there. LinkedIn, I don't know how long they keep it up on LinkedIn, but YouTube, I think the majority of the 259 shows that we've done are still on the YouTube channel. So you just go to the Portrait Profits YouTube channel. Step 2. If you want to go deeper, organize your influences into categories. This helps you see where your thinking is being shaped most strongly. And I want you to consider who or what influences you in each of these following areas. Business strategy. Who shapes how you think about pricing, positioning, growth, profitability? Technical skill. Who influences how you photograph, how you edit, how you print, how you deliver your work? If I'm one of your influencers on printing and delivering your work, then you know I am a supporter of printing, big supporter of printing. I just don't imagine a photographer not knowing how to print. It's just mind-boggling to me, because once you have printed, you're going to want to do it again. It just has a different feeling. It lasts. If you haven't printed, oh my gosh, please do it. Please do it. All right, enough about that. And of course, go to Digital Pro Lab to get your printing done, digitalprolab.com. Now, marketing and branding. Whose messaging style do you absorb? Whose visual style do you maybe subconsciously mirror? How about your financial thinking? Who influences how you think about money, about risk, about investment? I'm not really talking about, going to your financial advisor, although that is part of it. I'm talking about your financial situation with photography, the things that you invest in, just a lot of different money things. But financial investing for the future is part of that. The next is emotional stability. Who do you turn to when you're discouraged, when you're overwhelmed? Are you the kind of person who just keeps it to themselves? I can do it myself. Sometimes we are, but when you do talk to someone, who is it? Or if you were to talk to someone, who would it be? Let's talk about personal growth. What books, what podcasts, what teachers or belief systems shape how you think about life? And then there's digital consumption. What creators, platforms, or algorithms are shaping your perspective daily? When you categorize influence in this way, patterns begin to emerge. You may discover that some areas are well supported, while others are shaped entirely by chance. Knowing the gaps, seeing the gaps, that awareness is powerful. So let's talk about identifying those gaps. Now, look at your categorized list and study it carefully. If you didn't see them already, look for gaps. Chances are when you're making the list, you're going to feel it, you're going to see it. But if you haven't, study your list, look for the gaps. You may notice that you have a strong emotional support system, but very little strategic guidance. You may be surrounded by technical excellence, yet have no one helping you think about profitability. You may consume hours of marketing content, but lack someone who understands your specific market and long term goals. If a role is empty or underserved, it means you now have clarity about where growth is possible. I mean, a gap noticed is an opportunity revealed. So look for patterns. Are most of your influences peers at the same stage as you? I mean, you can have some of those, you should, but you want people who are where you want to be or have experienced what you want to experience. Are you heavily influenced by free content? Are you paying attention to those who have built sustainable businesses? Are your financial beliefs shaped by fear? No judgment here. This is about alignment. Influence compounds over time. Small inputs, repeated daily, shape long term direction. If you want different outcomes, you may need different voices guiding your thinking. Growth follows the quality of influence that you choose. Now, let's talk about adjusting your influence intentionally. This is step 4 of 4. So we're almost done. Okay, so now you've seen the gaps. So, of course, the next step is to fill them. You're not looking for dramatic change, but you do want deliberate change. Influence shifts first through attention. What you read, what you listen to, what you give mental space to is gradually shaping your thinking. Small adjustments in attention create long term shifts in direction. So maybe begin by following someone who's further along in the path that you intend to take, or invest in a resource that sharpens your strategic thinking. You might engage more intentionally with a peer who's serious about growth. Call them, invite them to coffee or lunch. Your treat. By the way, if I'm available and someone invites me to lunch to pick my brain, guess what? I go to lunch. I like that exchange. Sure, if they were to hire me for an hour, I would charge a lot more than it costs for them to get that lunch for me. But I'm more than happy to do it. It's fun. I suggest that you reduce exposure to content that keeps you comfortable. It doesn't push you where you want to go. Therefore, it's harming your goals. Over time, stronger influence elevates standards. It clarifies decisions and it steadies your confidence. Let me give you some closing thoughts for today's message before I share with you the upcoming shows. I've shared with you one of them. There's another one I want to share with you before I end today. When you when you know the kind of business you're building, when you know the standard of work you want to produce, when you know the level of life you intend to create, the remaining question is whether the influences surrounding you support that direction. Every photographer operates within a network of voices. Some are close, some are distant, some are human, some are digital. All of them shape perspective. Perspective shapes decisions. Decisions determine progress. A board of advisors is simply the intentional selection of those voices. Are you hearing me? Do you hear this? Tell me that you're hearing this, that you can benefit from this. Just say yes in the comments or share something that maybe you've experienced when talking with someone who's helping you out, or the opposite, something that didn't work out. We want to hear all those stories. Deliberate selection, though, protects your clarity, it strengthens your judgment, and it accelerates progress toward the goals that you've already defined. If you haven't defined your goals, you're going to wander. You're going to go down maybe the right road, but in the opposite direction and not know. because the road looks good. By the way, I as far as success is concerned, one of the major differences between those who are successful and those who are struggling is not doing good things. It's doing right things. And the only way to tell the difference between good and right is by defining where you want to go. When you're not intentional, influence is shaped by convenience or familiarity and comfort. And I want you to understand this. Either way, your board, your advisory board exists. You already have it. Is it reflecting your ambitions? Build it thoughtfully. Let it represent the level of business and life you decided to create. Now, I want to talk about the upcoming shows. As you know, you get the Portrait Profit Show every Monday. So here's a look at the upcoming shows. On March 2nd at noon, I'll put that up on the screen. There it is. This one is called Why Photographers Still Matter in the Era of AI. I mentioned it before, but let me tell you a little bit more about it. If AI can create the lighting, the background, and even the face, where does that leave you? AI is replacing some photography, but it's also revealing exactly where portrait photographers are still essential. Let's talk about why photographers still matter and where you should be positioning yourself right now. That's on March 2nd at noon. Now, I don't know when I'm going to be doing it on March 9th yet. That one is to be determined. So I'll let you know next week. But I do know what's on March 16th. So I'll tell you about that. This is why you're not getting there yet. Something is changing in your photography business. You're working, learning, you're staying busy, and yet you're not getting where you want to go. So I'm sharing 3 questions that quietly reveal why that happens and what must change to move forward. If you've ever wondered, even for a moment, why am I not getting there yet? Well, this one is for you. March 16th at noon. Why you're not getting there yet. Lens Legends. By the way, if you're watching this for the first time, you are a lens legend. That's what I call you guys. Lens Legends, as we close today, remember this. Your business is being shaped by the voices you choose to listen to. You already know the direction you're building towards. Now make sure your influence supports it. Build your board of advisors intentionally. Refine it as you grow because growth follows the quality of influence you choose. I want to thank you, Lens Legends, for your time and attention here today. And thank you for the hard work that you put in every single day to build a photography business that matters. I'll see you next Monday. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, I'm Jim Landers, and this is the Portrait Profit Show. I look forward to watching you grow. You guys rock, and I appreciate you. Bye for now.